Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Heidi and this is my July wrap-up. This video is going to be talking about the 4 novels that I read this month, and the next part will be graphic novels. The first thing I read this month was Lord of the Flies by William Golding. This is a reread for me and I actually gave it another star. So this is a story about a large group of children, boys, between the age of 5 and 12. Their plane crashes on a tropical island and there are no adult survivors. What I love about this story is a exploration into a child's mind, and our main character, Ralph, at the beginning he's very much a Peter Pan character in that he's just so excited. There's no grown-ups to tell him what to do. He can do anything he wants to. He doesn't really listen to anyone else. He's just gonna have fun. To in the middle of the book where he decides to accept some responsibility for some of the other children, to work together to try and get rescued and to try and survive. And then towards the end where he is just absolutely broken and he is just at his wit's end. He just wants to go home. Definitely for me. The next book I read in July was Hidden Bodies by Kepnes. This is the sequel to You, which I read a couple of months ago. You is a story about a man named Joe who a woman comes into his bookstore and he is automatically obsessed. He's reading so much into her body language and he's telling the story to her as like you walked into the store and I could tell you weren't wearing a bra, so you were flirting with me, like you wanted me. And like he's just so creepy and he starts stalking her online and in person, and he starts trying to figure out how he can insert himself into her life in with her friends and just tries to make her want him. And it's completely a story about obsession to the extreme. I actually enjoyed this just as much as the first one, and I loved the ending. It probably more than the ending in the last book. I liked it and I gave it 4 stars just like I gave the first one, so I highly recommend that. The next book I read was The Vegetarian by Han Kang, and this won the International Man Booker Prize this year, translated by Deborah Smith. And I think Deborah Smith did a great job translating because the story was really accessible. I didn't feel like there was any language barrier. There was definitely different culture, but that was great. I liked that. The story is about a woman who has a very vivid dream and decides to start making huge life changes. She becomes a vegetarian. She, stops wearing clothing half the time, and she doesn't go through the social niceties that are expected of, a normal person. And this causes a lot of problems with her family, and they're convinced that if they can just get her to eat meat again, that she'll just turn back into a normal person and stop causing so much problems in their life. You never see the story from her point of view. The first part of the story is told by her husband, and then her brother-in-law, and then her sister. So you never get inside her head and really see what her motivations are, which I thought was interesting and unique. I don't think the story was for me. It's about 200 pages. It was fairly easy to read. Maybe I missed the whole point of this. I gave it 2 stars. I'm glad I read it because everyone's been going crazy about it, but I just... The last book I read this month was All You Need Is Kill by Hiroshi Sakurazaka, translated by Alexandra Smith. This is the novel that Live, Die, Repeat was based off of. It's about 200 pages, not very big, but I really enjoyed this one. This is a story about a soldier named Cage, and he, in his very first battle, he kills an alien invader, and he's like covered in its blood or innards or whatever, and somehow it traps him in a time loop, so he has to relive his whole day over again. and he meets a soldier named Rita, and he finds out that she has been trapped in several different loops. I do think that this got whitewashed a little bit in the adaptation to film, because it is set in Japan and the main character is Japanese. But Rita is American, and there are a lot of American characters, so it was a decent translation. There was a lot more in the novel, obviously, but a lot more about the Mimic's background and motivation for invading and attacking, and I really enjoyed those parts. I thought that the ending was better in this and more realistic. I really did not care for the kill the queen and then she'll take out all of the rest of the aliens the movie had. This was much more realistic, I feel like. That being said, there was one scene or one part in the final showdown battle that I thought was unnecessary. I don't think it was necessary, and it just kind of, I almost dropped a star because I really didn't like it that much, and I'm trying to decide if it's just because that's not how I wanted the story to go, or because it was really not necessary for the story. I don't know. But that being said, I chose to leave the star and gave it 4-star rating. I really enjoyed it, and I recommend it. So those were the novels that I read this month, and look out for my next videos, which will have all the graphic novels that I read this month. So thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave me a comment down below if you've read any of these, if you agree with me, if you disagree, especially about like the vegetarian. Maybe I just don't get it. I don't know. Anyways, I will see you next time in my next video. Bye.